Hello and welcome to the BNI San Diego podcast. I'm really excited today because I'm joined by a very good friend and colleague, Mark Appelbaum. And Mark, on a fun note, you just corrected me. For many years, I was spelling your last name wrong, but you corrected me in the right way of spelling that because it's a tough one, Appelbaum. You would think it was Apple, but no, it's not, right?
That's correct. It's E-L.
E-L, yeah. It's like, okay, Ed, let's get it straight. As long as we've known each other. But even good friends, we still get some little things wrong.
It's all good.
So let me tell you a little bit about Mark. Mark is like I mentioned, a great friend, a colleague. Mark is the area director for BNI Tampa, and which is a phenomenal role for him. You know what? Would you mind even sharing with our audience a little bit about what you do in your role?
Of course. Hello, BNI San Diego. So my role as an area director in BNI Tampa is I am a chapter placement specialist. So I have the pleasure of talking to all the different people that are interested in BNI and helping them find a potential home that is a perfect fit for them. And then on a weekly basis, I speak to every chapter leadership team of the 52 chapters. We have a call twice a month.
52 chapters. That's awesome.
52 chapters. And so I have a half-hour call with each leadership team twice a month, supporting them on what's working, what's not working, and how the region could help them continue moving forward.
That's fantastic. Terrific. Well, thank you, Mark, for joining us today. Hey, Mark, what are we going to talk about today?
We're going to talk today about treating BNI like your number one client.
Ew, that's a good topic. I love that topic. So how is it going to work? What are we going to,
if you would, we're going to do a little role play. If everyone would play along.
And I do like role play.
If you would mind, I know you, in your region, you probably have a lot of insurance agents, P&C, property and casualty insurance agents.
One in every chapter. Absolutely.
Well, it just so happens I've got good friends named Becky and Isaac that live in San Diego. And Becky and Isaac have a $5 million home right off.
Good size home in San Diego.
And they have an RV, they have a boat, they have teenage drivers, they have investment properties all over the California coastline. And they also are owners of a mortgage company with a large group of loan officers that work for them. And they're trying to find a dedicated insurance agent to refer all their clients to. So question for you, Ed, if I were to refer you to Becky and Isaac, would all that coverage be a good referral for you?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I would be ecstatic. You would be my new best friend with that kind of a referral.
Well, now let me ask you this. Let's say time has gone by, they're now clients of yours, and they go, Ed, we're really impressed with you, your rates, and your service. And we know a lot of people. Is it likely that if they own a $5 million home, that besides their mortgage company and their loan officers, is it likely just from the people that they know, is it likely that they know other people that own similar valued homes? Oh,
yeah, absolutely. Right. Whether it's a colleague, another professional, or their next door neighbor. If you're living in a $5 million home, it's more than likely your neighbors are going to be business owners.
And with them being owning a mortgage company, they probably network a lot. So they probably know a ton of people.
Oh, absolutely.
So now let's say they sign up with you, they're now clients of yours, and they go, hey, Ed, we're really impressed with you, your rates, and your service, and we know a lot of people, and we have the potential of referring a lot of people to you. But before we do, we'd like to get to know you more.
Okay.
We're busy, you're busy. Mornings are perfect for us, like a Tuesday or Wednesday morning around 7:30, 7 o'clock. If we could spend like an hour and a half or so just to dedicate that time. And as we get to know you more, we'll start referring you business. Would that be an opportunity you would take advantage of?
Yeah, to me, that's a no-brainer. Absolutely.
Now, if they said, Ed, show up at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
What time would you show up?
6:30, 6:45.
Why?
Just because I want to, if we're meeting in a restaurant, right, I want to make sure that we've got a good spot in the restaurant. We've got everything ready to go. I want them to know that for that hour, 90 minutes, however long we're together, I want them to know that they're my priority. Mm-hmm. So And I'm that eager beaver that, I want them to know that I'm there for them.
Yeah. You want to know that you take that relationship serious, because if you're just on time or they're late, that sends the message to them of that's how you do your business.
Oh, yeah.
So, but if you're early, you send the message that that's how you do your business. So they'll assume that if you're early there, that if they give you a referral, you're probably going to be early to that referral. But if you're just on time or late, you send the message, you're probably going to be late there, and that you're likely not even going to get that referral. Agreed?
Absolutely. What's that old saying? How you do one thing is how you do all things.
You do everything. Yes. Now, during your meeting with them, would you take any calls or texts from clients? Or, obviously, if it was from your wife or your kids, yeah, you would say, sorry, my wife, it's an emergency. But besides that, would you take any calls or texts?
Well, no, because like you said, other than, and there's always the exception when it's a wife or a family member, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, absolutely not, because I want them to know that I'm there for them. If this is our time blocked out, that the other customers I will get back to after our meeting.
Yeah. Because again, their business is worth your time, but like I said, their potential of their business is really worth your time. So disrespecting your time with them could drastically impact that relationship.
Oh my gosh, big time.
Now, last question. Would you leave your appointment earlier than expected to go to another client appointment?
No. And again, it goes back to, it tells Becky and Isaac that if I were to leave before that next client is more important to me than them.
Agreed.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So I'm sorry to let you down, but there is no Becky and Isaac.
Wait, what?
Becky and Isaac stands for BNI.
Oh, I get, now that I think about it, their initials, right?
Uh-huh.
Ah, very good.
But imagine if every member, new or old, took the attitude, the mindset of like, what if whether it's 15 members, 25 members, 40 members, 80 members, that if they treated that hour and a half of time like I'm meeting with my number one client. Like, what if they even put it in their calendar? Like every week I'm meeting with my number one client. How would they treat that time?
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because when I'm going to a meeting, when I'm going to a chapter meeting, when in the underlying note after the chapter name, I actually put meeting with my best client.
Wow.
Because it gets my mindset in the right frame of mind, right?
Yeah.
That nothing other than, my wife or children, I don't take phone calls. I don't, everything else can wait, right? So, wow. Talk about an incredible, what a different perspective on the meeting in the moment, right?
Yeah.
And letting people know, I love this. Now, the more that I think about it, I love it because it tells people they are my priority. And if I make them my priority, what might they make me?
Because the fact is, whether you've been in BNI for a year, 2 years, even 5 years, do the people in your chapter, do you know all the people they know?
Oh, no. I think I think I would be incredibly wealthy if I did.
Yeah. And so what if everyone is just waiting to make sure that you're committed, that you're the guy or gal that is going to rock their world on every time you refer them business, that man, you've got to talk to my friend Ed, because not only is he the best insurance agent out there, but he will make sure you feel like you're the only one in the world that he's taking care of right now. Like that, people want to feel like that.
Oh,
people feel wanted.
I'm the insurance agent and I want to feel that way, right?
Yeah. Now, question.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you came into BNI, what category were you in?
So as a matter of fact, 9 days ago was my 18th anniversary, June 6th.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And when I came in, a very good friend of mine hired me. He was the largest auto broker in Southern Arizona. So I came into a chapter as an auto broker. I sold cars, from used cars to high-end cars. And I will tell you that chapter made my life.
Now, did you have clients in that business that were like not only buying cars regularly from you, but also referring you to other?
Oh yeah. And that's the thing that I learned very early on is when I'm with a customer, I don't just see the customer that's there. I see all the potential customers behind them that come from them. So yeah, I had many a client that referred me to family and to friends. And, I made sure that I took extra care of those clients, right? Because I wanted to cultivate that really good, that relationship that was going to pay dividend after dividend after dividend.
Yeah. And so for those watching and listening to this podcast, whether you've been in BNI for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, sometimes you may think, well, I've been in BNI for this amount of time and I built this amount of credibility in a group. Well, consider every visitor, every new member, you're brand new to them.
Brand new.
So you have no credibility with them. So you have to act like you're brand new, just like they are. And so how you show up here, like one of my favorite stories, and this wasn't even part of the plan, but is a company here in Salt Lake. So for those of you who don't know, I live in Utah. I'm not even in Tampa, but I was a member here in Utah for 16 years. And there was a member here that was late every week to the meeting. Great guy and did great work, but was late. And he lost business from other members because the only thing they knew about him was that he was late. And it's like that one little thing. So again, if you're watching or listening to this, one of the main reasons why you want to be early is because, like we were talking about your number one client, you want to show up early to that number one client. You want to be early to the meeting because you don't know who's walking in a room.
Yeah.
And who they know.
Well, and I think that aspect of, and sometimes it's easy to forget, is that people are always watching. Again, just a little bit ago, we talked about how people look at you and say, how you do one thing is how you do all things. Mm-hmm. And if we're constantly late or leaving early or not engaged, whether I'm in an in-person chapter or an online chapter, if I'm doing something else when somebody's talking, basically what I'm telling them is, hey, my time is more valuable than yours.
Yeah.
But if I treat them like, the incredible professional they are, that's when we all win. I was listening to a speaker the other day, and he mentioned it was a team sport, and this particular speaker said, if you're willing to play for the team on the front, you will be if you're willing to play for the name on the front, you will be remembered by the name on your back. And for those of you who play sports know that it's on the back, it's always your name.
Yeah.
But first, we've got to be willing to play for the team on the front. Mm-hmm. And that's really about that engagement. It's about, like you said, Mark, looking at your chapter, the person in front of you, like your best client. Because if you cultivate it correctly, hey, they're probably going to be your best client.
We have time for me to share a quick story?
Absolutely.
This is just within the last couple of months. I was talking to a chapter. It's a 15-member chapter. It's a hybrid chapter. And a few months ago, they were voting on whether or not to go back fully in person. And they decided.
So what's a hybrid chapter for our listeners who don't?
For our listeners. So when prior to COVID, BNI chapters were all in person. Then COVID hit. We all went online. Some chapters have stayed online. Some went back in person. And hybrid means it's a mix of both, where the first meeting of the month is in person and the remaining weeks are online. So it's a nice little balance there. Well, this chapter is a hybrid, and they were voting on whether or not to go in person. Well, the treasurer of the chapter happens to be an accountant, and he lives quite a bit away. But because it's a hybrid and he only has to go in person once a month, it's worth his time. And he was originally questioning if they went fully in person. It's like that's a lot of his time in driving. But when he took on the mindset of, if this is his number one client, what would he do for his number one client? It completely changed his paradigm. And he'd be like, and he admitted, I would make the drive because this is worth my time. Now, for a newer member who hasn't possibly experienced the ROI yet that they want, again, giver's gain. It's about trusting the process, that if you invest in the system and go and just do the activities, it's going to come back to you. But again, if you treat it like your number one client, I promise you, it'll become your number one client.
And it really starts with, like you put it starts with your mindset.
Yeah.
You know, it reminds me of, and I don't know the quote, so I'm going to let you say it, but one of your favorite quotes by Wayne Dyer. What's one of your favorite quotes by Wayne Dyer?
When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Boom. Talk about a great way to end a fantastic time together. Mark, thank you so much for joining us again. And from our conversations, I'm planning on having you back on a regular basis, because we've got some great conversations. I know that some of the ones that we're going to be talking about in the future, some of our listeners definitely need to hear, because I needed to hear. So thank you for taking the time out of your schedule.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And we look forward to seeing you back with us again, probably in a couple months. And until then, I know that we're coming into, you guys are getting good weather right now in Utah, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we're getting it here in California. Still a little drizzly today, but you know what? We're going to be getting that beautiful San Diego weather here anytime.
Enjoy
Again, thank you everyone for joining us. We look forward to having you back with us next week with another wonderful speaker, a co-host, the individual that we'll be getting to have a conversation with. Again, Mark, thank you. Have a great rest of your week. And folks, we look forward to being with you next Tuesday morning. Talk to you all soon.
This episode of the BNI San Diego podcast has been brought to you by Cruise Productions, a San Diego-based video production company and proud BNI member. You can find us at the intersection where business and creativity meet, or online at cruiseproductionsinc.com.